Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again is my partner in crime, Kenny Boucher. What's up, dog?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
So in the pregame, I showed off a picture of us from 10 years ago. I feel like you looked a bit younger.
So did you, dog. I mean, you look.
Did I?
I mean, you look less younger than I do. I will admit that, but probably because you look less older now. Is the reality. Yeah, that was in the after hours content. That's almost 10 years ago to the day.
Time is fluid, Kenny. Time is fluid.
I don't know what that means. Time is literally water?
Yes.
It's a fluid? Can I drink it?
It's a cat. Time is a cat.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense now.
Wyatt's not with us tonight. He's still in the hospital. He got sick. I think they got him on antibiotics right now, an infection. So just letting you guys know he's okay. He got back to us. He's just been dealing with stuff he deals with all the time, and he seems to be on the mend. Shout out to our missing co-host and the only guy who keeps our show, worthy of the Peabody collection that
He brings the real content.
Yeah.
I mean, really what happened was Blockbuster came looking for those videotapes, and they did a number on them.
I want to throw it back to Jimmy Norris real quick. In reference to your time as a cat. Time as a cat, we're all getting pushed off the edge of the counter slowly.
It's true. Why do I feel like I'm sliding?
That's deep. That's deep.
That is.
We're all being
deep.
Slowly pushed into the abyss.
Which is falling off the kitchen counter. Dude, I looked at my floorboards because I dropped I got some models in from Creature Cast for those new Autarchs of Malefica. These things are pretty fresh. And I had them in a tray all built up like a box lid. And I was like, I left it precariously dangling over the kitchen counter. And I was like, yeah, I got to make a mental note. Don't slam my hand down on the counter and catapult these things off into the abyss. What did I do 2 seconds later? Catapulted them off into the kitchen floor where they promptly shattered, and I had to find all the pieces. And then I looked at my floorboards and I was like, these are pretty gross. I should clean these. Just don't look at your floorboards underneath your cabinets. I was like, I keep my floors clean, but who scrubs their floorboards? I never cleaned them ever, not once.
There's like a crack in my countertop that's been there since I moved in, and I'm like getting pretty concerned with how grody the interior of that crack is getting.
Oh man. I would just say don't put any food on top of that.
Yeah. I'm getting a little concerned. Maybe pour some bleach in there. So we don't have a would you rather, I guess, unless Rob has one.
Do not.
Nope. So,
I guess we can go to the lizard news, as you like to call it.
Yeah, we can go right into it. So, we don't have a lot of things to talk about. We try to clickbait some people in here, but it didn't work. So,
some masterful baiter you are.
I guess I'm not as tight as I thought I was.
One day you'll get good. Nah, I don't know. This is just, everybody's doing life stuff right now. It's the first week of September. Everybody's getting back to the grind, back to the schools. We get it. Hopefully we'll get some Votan next week. That'll be fresh. Yeah, that'll be pretty dope. So here's what we got for news. Next week, the battle forces will be out for Star Wars Legion. So if you're looking to maybe check out a new tabletop war game, it's a little bit bigger than Skirmish, but not quite as grand as a game of 40K, although it could be, depending on, what you play and such. Check out Star Wars Legion. I mean, these battle forces are $150. You get about 500 points worth of stuff in there, so you can play Skirmish The only other thing you're going to need to buy is the Essentials kit, which is $30. Comes with all the markers and templates and tokens and things, but it also comes with the skirmish rules, so you can actually right out the bat play with the Battle Force thing. So $180 before discount at any store, and you basically have a playable army. So I think there hasn't been a better time to get into a game like Star Wars Legion. Now, next week it's just Rebels and Imperials coming out. The Clone Troopers or Grand Republic Army or Army of the Republic and the Separatists will be later on. But, depending on which flavor you want to play, this might be the week for you. Then we saw some World Eaters previews, some 3D bits, renders. It looks like there may be some Red Butcher minis, some Terminators, if you're not familiar with that term. They also did some shoulder pads, including the Cataphractii shoulder pads. So things are looking pretty dope so far for the World Eaters, even though we've seen the Berserker.
Do you think they're Red Butchers or Mutilators?
I think they were too chunky to be Mutilators.
Mutilators are definitely
not chunky enough.
Oh, not chunky enough.
Not chunky enough. They look like Chain Fists. Like it was just
it makes sense because, it'd be like Destro Terminators.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, the Thousand Sons have the Occult Terminators. Yeah. Death Guard have actually two different Terminators, right? So
yeah,
I would almost say it's 100% that World Eater's going to get some sort of Terminator equivalent kit.
That makes sense.
But they're going to play that one close to their chest, of course, I'm sure. Then fresh and hot today, Liber Imperium preview. They didn't show the table of contents, which was curious because the Mechanicum book, they showed the table of contents, but this one they did not. But they're introducing assassins in the Heresy, which is kind of cool. It's also going to have Solar Auxilia as well as the Custodes. So kind of a little bit of unexpectedness in there, but we still don't have the broad stroke look at what's actually going to be in the book, unfortunately. But the rules previews seemed okay. They didn't really go that in depth, but nothing too crazy. But being able to play with your assassins now too, that would be kind of neat. And they got a new assassin they previewed as well, the Van's Temple. So that'll probably come out around the same time if I had to guess.
There's some Heresy stuff.
Yeah.
So people are gonna be able to play their Custodes in 30K.
Yeah, or their Solar Auxilia, which would be. Those models are pretty dope. It's Imperial Guard and Heresy, but they're the Imperial Army, I guess. They can have access to a lot of cool stuff. So definitely looking forward to seeing those rules. I might actually play Heresy at that point because I have a few Custodes myself. Not having to put together a bunch of Beaky Marines or normal Marines.
Stupid Beaky Marines.
They're not stupid. I like the new sculpts.
Beaks.
I think they did a good job with the new sculpts. What else we got? Oh, so Marvel Crisis Protocol put out their new FAQ affiliation list and base size list because the new releases hit store shelves this weekend. So if you're looking for those Hydra or Shield models, they will be out, and they will also be you'll be able to see the exact affiliations and such. So look for that. It's all over on Atomic Mass Games website. And I think they have the Red Skull stuff for Hydra listed as coming out in October 14th. So about a month or so away for the rest of that run. They also previewed the Sentinels. Did you see that shit, Kenny?
My brother was dick hard on them the other day, but I didn't see them.
They are... So there's going to be two kits. There's a Sentinel Prime and regular Mark IV Sentinels. And apparently they have like 6 different sets of arms that all has ball joints, 4 sets of arms, different heads, different damage bits you can put on there, like Wolverine Claws, Cyclops Blast, Iceman, like chunks of ice and shit, which is weird because
they are sick.
Figure. There were some size comparisons, like I don't have it on. Dang, I don't have it on this. I could put it maybe here if you want to put this on the screen.
Yeah, they are pretty. They are pretty fucking cool.
They did a live stream with showing some of the models, like, obviously how big Wolverine is, because he's always jumping on the back and thrashing at him. See if I can find it real quick. But that was, here, I'll forward this to you. So the Sentinel Prime looks to be the biggest model in MCP.
He's the Sentinel's the biggest one?
Yeah, he's going to be the biggest model, because Dormammu previously was the biggest one, but this picture here, you can see the Sentinel Prime is bigger than the Sentinel Mark IVs, and they will be 2 separate kits. I believe the Sentinel Prime is $50, and the 2-pack of Mark IVs is $65. And those supposedly will be hitting the middle of October as well.
Damn. Yeah, Wolverine is like the dude's knee.
Yeah, he's about as tall as the knees. Pretty wild.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to getting some of those models. I've been running a lot of Hulk and Juggernaut.
Juggernaut's an awesome model.
Yeah, not necessarily in the same list, because that'd be silly, but yeah, Juggernaut's pretty fun on the tabletop. I won't lie. He's a blast. So then, what else we got? So that was basically it for Warhammer. Now, I know I said last week that the Votann Army book would probably be this week's pre-order, but I had forgotten that the Lord of the Rings show came out, so they wanted to jump on that hype train and get all those pre-orders out. So I'm thinking it'll be next week to kind of maximize that middle of the month cash spend for a lot of folks. Seems like a lot of people spend money the middle of the month. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen the Rings of Power show on Amazon, give it a watch. First 2 episodes are up. I enjoyed it. I don't know what everybody's so mad about on the internet about.
Oh, they're racists.
There are some.
That's they're mad about. They're mad about. They're mad about the fact that it's not just exclusively white people in the show.
There is not exclusively white people in the show. That's 100%.
I saw some joke on it. I can't remember who. Maybe it was like Trevor Noah. I don't know. And he was like, yeah, in a way, I think they're right. Like, there's no way that this is believable. That this world that this white guy made up in his head would have anybody in it that wasn't white. It's like, oh, I see what you did there. It's made up. There's nothing about it that you can even make that argument. Like, it's all made up. It's all fake. Nothing about it's realistic.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I enjoyed the show. Check it out. Maybe
I'm also in the community of I love the shit out of She-Hulk. Like, and
I haven't watched it yet. I got it. I got to watch it, but
like, I guess I'm just not watching the same things that everyone on the internet's watching, man. Like, I literally for fucking 2 weeks, Rob, my entire social media feed is just like all how terrible of a show She-Hulk is and how awful the Ring of Power is.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
same.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry you can't enjoy the things.
Like, nothing about any of those shows has triggered me in any way, has made me upset in any capacity.
Well, that's good to hear.
I don't understand what's you know what I mean? Like, Rings of Power is strong. Did you see the Dragon one too yet?
No, I have limited time to watch TV, unfortunately. I definitely and Prey. I want to watch Prey. I heard that was the best Predator showing yet. From a lot of folks I value their opinions. I did see Thor: Love and Thunder. I think that's what it was called. I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sorry that people can't enjoy things. Like, I feel bad for them. It's not even like I'm not even mad about it. I'm just like, man, I'm just sorry that you can't enjoy things.
Very sad.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's been pretty hyped. Like, it's been pretty hyped TV experience lately.
Yes.
I don't know.
But more to come on that. So check it out. If it's your thing, it's your thing. If not, hey, that's cool too. So yeah, And speaking of Amazon, I did want to mention, and I noticed this a little while ago, but I was kind of shook by it. So Amazon actually started a layaway program, and there's no credit check. There's no, pretty much anything, no fees, no nothing. They have it isn't everything on Amazon. There's specific things, but you can lay them away, set up your monthly payments, just like any of the department stores used to do. And when it's paid off, it'll ship to you. The only real bad thing about it is if it goes on sale, you're locked in at the price that it was originally. But I think, these days that'll help hopefully a lot of people, get through the holidays or get to the holidays, because it ain't getting any easier out there.
Nope.
So that was a very good thing that I noticed over there. I was like, wait, what? Amazon's doing layaway? That's wild. So we actually did a whole post on it because I thought it was...
That is actually interesting.
Yeah. There's no wargaming stuff on there, unfortunately. But, there's life stuff. And life is more important than wargaming sometimes. So check it out. If you're scratching your head like, how am I going to do the holidays this year? Well, you might have 3 months to work on it if you start now. So just something to consider. Figured I'd throw it out there. So what do you got going on as far as events you're going to? The Vegas team thing?
Las Vegas team tournament is later this month.
Right.
And I'm painting some Blood Angels, which, coincidentally just found out that the Blood Angels battle reports on Dice Check. That I finally had finished that list and went over there and show off the models.
They look fresh.
Thanks,
they
man.
did a lot of they did the little spinny thing showing your
That was really fun.
On.
It was really fun to play there and show off the models, try to, entice some students with that kind of advertising to my platform. So, it's been a lot of painting Blood Angels in the Beats Lab to get ready for Vegas teams using my 101 curriculum. Teaching students, we got a few openings still before we go on wait list. So just trying to, balance my work and my less important work, which is playing 40K. Well, simultaneously tomorrow I get to start talking about my new promo on Twitch. And then on the 13th, I get to start painting it. So that's exciting. You know what it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I do. I'm really interested to... Oh, by the way, thank you for referring him back to me for additional promos.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yep. We're in a couple of meetings.
Yeah. I've been following those guys for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really cool to get a random email like yo, dog. I was like, yo, dog back.
Yeah, I'm excited about the promo, so tune in tomorrow on Twitch. I get to start talking about it. I'm not starting a paint job. I'm finishing up the big Space Wolf you sent me, 3D art guy.
Oh, that's been looking pretty fresh.
Man, tell you what, man, 100 millimeters, dog. Oh, 3D art guy.
Do it.
That's the way to fucking do it, man.
All right, we'll make sure we get you that from now on.
If no one buys them, fine. Just make me one.
People do buy them. I mean, a lot of people use them for terrain or just a cool painting project, because who doesn't like big Space Marines, right?
I love big Space Marines. So I'll tell you what, guys, 3D art guy stuff, it shows. It just shines at 100 millimeters, man.
Well, that's what he actually sculpts it in.
Yeah.
He sculpts it at...
he's so detailed. That's the thing. Is it's when it's scaled down to Primarch size, it's still fine. It's just that you see things you never even thought you could see at 100 millimeters. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So having a lot. So we're gonna try to be wrapping him up tomorrow. I need to call somebody about a base for him though. Get something sick for him to mount his ass on.
Oh yeah, I guess so. You could put him on 100 mil maybe.
Yeah, I just want to call one of our people at Alex Hobbies, see what they got. But it's the same model. So if you guys also want to see kind of moving into the conclusion of the 100 millimeter totally not Lehman Russ, and you don't sell it just yet, right?
No, I need to get it on the store. I just we've had some personnel turnovers and just trying to play catch up. So we'll have it up on the store hopefully here soon. And I think we're going to do a combo because the action pose of that model pairs up well with the first night. the not Lionel Johnson, so you can have the epic duel for, you know, not a lot, not 100. What is a Primarch now from GW? $123.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a beast. He's a savage. Like, this model is a savage. Like, the skin and everything that I like. Look, because he's very subtle with his details. He tries to keep it more, like, less exaggerated. The 3D art guy. And that really shows on, like, the face and stuff and the hair. Like, it's a magnificent piece. So, like, when Rob started selling them, if you're not equipped to print something like that dope and that big, you know, because you can get his STLs.
Yeah, right? Oh, for sure.
But, like, if you don't have your shit dialed in, man, like I'll tell you what, man, like, if that guy was in hard resin still, like, you know, because you can get really good stuff out of, like, really hard resin. Man, I would have broke his hair off so many times by now.
Yeah, the hair is pretty wild.
Like, I would have broke so many things on this guy so many times if he was in, like, the ultra hard crisp resin. Like, your resin is just perfect. It's perfect for 100 millimeters too. It's because it's like the sword and everything is hard and crisp, right?
Yeah.
But, like, but it's almost like an old, like, Ninja Turtle toy too. Like, the big weapons, like, they can move, you know?
Like the He-Man swords.
Yeah, and not break and not stay bent. Like, I haven't broken anything on this guy. His hair, anything. I put my pinky on it, everything as I'm moving them all around. It's crazy, guys. So you tune in for sure. Check it out on Instagram too if you want to just see, like, how insane this model is coming out. We're not even really doing anything groundbreaking. The model is paint. It went from this model's hard to paint, you know, like 3D art guy at Primarch scale, to an artist's challenge because of how detailed they are. But at 100 millimeter, it's like almost like you don't have to paint that much, like, because now there's all this, like, real estate for, like, techniques to work, like washes and stuff, you know, like, so so depending on if you want a collectible giant dude or you want to play with your guy as a fake Primarch, I've been so excited for this project, and I'll get pictures to you as soon as I get them on a base. Link up for the sale.
That'd be fresh. And, yeah, we can get some links in there so you can let people know where they can scoop it up.
Yeah, and, you know, we're going to, like you said, to the Vegas teams, and we're doing the Blood Angels. Some people have asked if there's any videos on them. I've got a video I haven't put out yet, just because, like, I don't really make YouTube videos anymore, man. But I have, like, 90% of a timeline made that just, like, every time I sit down and fuck with it, I'm just like, I hate this. Like, I hate this workflow. Like, for years, that was our workflow, was put out a video every week in real time, you know, painting tutorial. And the second I was able to just get away from that, because what YouTube is the library.
Yeah.
With, like, 1,000 videos in it. So, like, if you want to learn how to paint red for me in a sustainable, attainable way, I've got dozens of those. So
yeah, it's already there. So
if you want to learn how to paint blood angels like they're being painted right now, that's just that's just the curriculum. Right? So you can follow along on Twitch, kind of just free to play, learn as you go, grind it out, or you can sign up for my classes. It's pretty much every student is painting pretty much exactly like that by the third class. That's the method. Like, the way that army was curated was the commission painting, like, strategy that for 6 years I toiled over.
We used to paint, like, what, an army in 2 weeks?
Oh yeah, that was the guarantee, man. We used to put out 2,000 points in 14 days, man. Just me. But I had to figure out a way to do it so that someone would give me thousands of dollars, right? $2,000 for, like, usually was pretty average. So, but I had to do it in such a way that, like, this guy can be happy with that investment, but also I could be happy with my time investment. And so shortcuts had to be taken, right? So over time, I basically kind of distilled it down to, like, if we do these 3 things well, then we will always have a client who's happy. And I will always be happy with how much time I put into it. So that's over 6 years, that was just perfected, you know? And now I just crank them out. And so I just, you know, it's been a while since I dusted off the chops, but I painted that whole Blood Angel army in 4 months. Like,
that was a lot of stuff.
But I have a full-time job. So that's me saying, okay, I'll pay for an hour here, pay for an hour there. Pay a little bit more on Sunday because I want to have hobby time. So basically, it shows that, like, in 4 months, you can put out about 2,500 points like that using these shortcuts. So like that's the hobby site, right? Like my whole thing is like helping people launch their project. You know what I mean? Like Warhammer 40K is like so fun, but like it's way more fun if you have a dope 2,000 point army you're proud of. The validation you feel, you can't buy it. It's my favorite shit. Anyway, just talked about that for a minute.
No, I mean,
You got excited.
Your program definitely has results. I mean, I remember you working with me one-on-one a lot in the beginning, 10 years ago or whatever, you know, just like helping me. I was like, man, you should really put this shit on YouTube.
Helping you out of airbrush, right? Back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like people, I mean, there's so many different paints you can airbrush with now. And, you know, even 10 years ago, there wasn't that range. Like you had, none of this stuff was designed for airbrush. It's amazing how far we've come in just a short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, we were also
so
like beginner artists. Like
yeah.
When you think of GW Citadel paints, they have like broken it down for like, here's like a thicker consistency paint to help you with your base coats. And here's one that's not thicker to help you so you can do like your layers and stuff, right? So they even like manipulate the consistency of the paint to help someone be brave to do art. And so that like pre-engineered inconsistency to help like a brush painter lay stuff down was kind of like in all the paint. You know what I'm saying? People would struggle with like a thinner paint, like a thinner consistency.
Mm-hmm.
But as we've gotten better and more knowledgeable because of like things like YouTube, that most people I think have gotten more comfortable with a thinner paint, like a thinner bodied paint. And so thinner bodied paint also happens to be easier to set up for airbrush. So airbrushing also benefited from all of that. So that's where I always tell people is like the sooner you can break out of the Citadel paints, because they got you here, right? Yep. They got you brave. They got you doing art in some way. But the sooner you can leave that and move into these other ways of painting, the more happy you're going to be, and the sooner and the faster you're going to grow as a painter.
It's true.
Yeah.
But the good thing about those paints is you can always go get them at pretty much everywhere, easily attainable.
Citadel paints.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have the gas station contract, you know.
Yeah, basically.
Like,
it's kind of wild.
Yeah. But yeah,
let's talk about this War Games Live, the hero
the hero we need, but maybe we don't deserve him because he's so legendary. Joe.
So, yeah, I've seen this guy around at a lot of events. He's always hustling, like always working. It's like a one-man operation. It's incredible to see set up the whole everything really.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't really got a chance to talk to him because he's always
so busy, man.
Busy. Yeah.
He's a busy man.
But so here's a scenario that went down. Apparently at Nova Open, that's the only time I'm going to say that this whole podcast, the Pod 2 for the championships didn't have any prize support. And so apparently they didn't care if he streamed it. So he streamed it and he crowdsourced, I guess, $1,000 split across like the top three placings or something.
Yeah.
So they could actually get stuff. And I think knowing what I know about the regular Pod 1, what people have come home with, I imagine the prize support Pod 2 might have been a tad bit better than Pod 1, but I wasn't there and I didn't look at Pod 1, so I can't really tell you. But from what I know, that's the case. And we were talking in the pregame and what are all these like? Are these urban myths or are these like real things?
Yeah,
like,
we're finding things out about his life, and we're like, is this real? You guys fucking with us? Like, dude travels the country in a converted RV with his dogs. He has a schedule on his YouTube channel, War Games Live.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
He goes to these events and he just hustles his ass off and just covers things. And he does, and his mom apparently ships out like swag and merch and stuff from his Patreon page from her home base, you know? Like, this guy is a legend. Like, he's out there putting eyes on games and even bringing the crowd in to help, you know, fund prize support. Like, this is amazing, dude. The guy's a legend. Never heard anything like this.
No. And the fact that, well, they crowdsource prize support, but, you know, I don't know if he charges folks to come out and do this. I think he just enjoys doing it and, you know, makes the money.
Yeah, does he have like a contact button, man? Like, how do you book him? How do you book this guy?
There's an email address thing on here on YouTube. Oh, it's just Joe at Wargames Live or wargames.live. Joe at wargames.live is his email.
Apparently, he used to be a chemist. Also, there's another
Oh, there we go. A chemist and a camper traveling around the country. This sounds great.
Yeah.
I've seen this on TV before.
So he's got an email address. He's got a schedule, like a roadshow, and it seems like people contact him and line up coverage with this guy.
Yeah. So let's see. 3 months ago, he did a post on here. Over 4,500 miles traveled in May, all funded by you guys and the independent tournament organizers that invite me to stream their events. Thank you all so much for your generosity and support. And that was 3 months ago. So who even, that was in May, 1 month. That's
Holy
wild.
Shit.
He's got dice you can buy over on his YouTube page or his Patreon. He has 2 levels on there. It's $25. Includes shipping. That's pretty nice. He's got his Wargames Live logo.
Man, that's awesome. So he's got a Patreon page. Is it just Patreon/Wargames Live?
Yeah, let's take a look at that. Imagine so. Yep, sure is.
Fuck yeah.
That's easy to find.
Does he have a lot of supporters on Patreon right now?
He's got over 200, I think. That's what it said. Yeah, it's over 200.
Nice. So he's getting some support. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's his upcoming schedule. It looks like he's going to be at Wasteland Wars GT in Lubbock, Texas this weekend. Warzone Houston the weekend after. Flying Monkey Con in Kansas the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And Michigan GT 30th, October 1 and 2.
Oh, wow. That dude's just like hitting his tour dates, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like perpetually, like, man. Like, I've seen him so many times. That's incredible. So, dude saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
Generates $1,000.
Prize support.
Didn't even stream Pod 2 over at that event.
Yeah, they just let him do it.
And where was GW when all this was going on?
Maybe they're working on the new app.
Were they covering Pod 1? Who was covering Pod 1?
Yeah, they were doing Pod 1.
All right. So that got covered too. And I also heard it was a fiasco with the new engagement range rules. That
there's a lot of folks mentioned that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to break it down. It's just.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is our same update, right? This is the if you're charging through obscuring terrain, engagement range becomes 2 inches, right? But what that essentially means is +1 to charge. So if you can make yourself draw a line through, you can take your path through a obscuring piece of terrain, you have a +1 to charge roll. So it's a lot of fun words to mean +1 to charge, and the intent is to me obvious because when it dropped and we looked at it and we broke it down, it looks to me like, oh, this really helps with Titanic models.
Right.
Trying to navigate the board and can't do things. Oh, this is great, but in practice, what it means is you can force a lot of charges easier than you used to be able to. Like, for example, Blood Angel's whole army +1 to charge. All I gotta do is just say, hey, I'm gonna cut through that fucking ruin, +2 to charge. You know what I mean? Basically. But because of the nature of the way engagement range works, engagement range is actually 1 inch. But if you're in a obscure piece of terrain, it's 2 inches, which leads to all sorts of problems. For example, if I'm walking by you and you're in a ruin and I'm not, engagement range is 2 inches, meaning I have to stay outside of 2 inches of you. Mm-hmm. So now you can actually use a thing that to me is clearly a thing to help Titanic models out to hurt them. Because you can actually just like put models in a place in an alley inside of some buildings, and you can actually make it so these dudes can't walk through the buildings. They can't walk through those lanes because they would pass within an inch. So they'd have to charge you. Like you'd be like, "Yep, you're not coming back here to this objective. You literally are blocked." So you basically make a 4 inch on two sides, like a 4 inch you can't pass zone, right? But also because engagement range is only 2 inches through a ruin, through an obscuring terrain, you can easily use your consolidation and then your pile-in, which happens, consolidation happens after you have swung, so you can use that extra 3 inches to move, so you're no longer passing through the ruin. So now suddenly they go to activate, and they're like, engagement range is only 1 inch, but you're 2 inches away. So you can actually just hit and run fools.
Yeah,
you could slap down a whole unit and not incur the wrath of any retaliation from this other unit. Like
it's maddening. It's like a solution to a problem that didn't exist almost, like. Well,
there was a problem that existed, and it was people not being able to play with giant Titanic models.
Well, yeah,
easily, right? That to me, that was the only. I always look at what's the problem. The problem here is, which I've heard from many people, is it's hard to play big nights and stuff because of all these reasons I just listed. And this seemed to be a solution to that problem. But GW has a tendency to make broad strokes where they fix something. And sometimes it's the classiest shit I've ever seen. Sometimes they write it down and it's just like, wow, well written,
well, yeah, in a lot of cases.
Because they have an aversion to using a detail brush. They don't want to make a rule that only does one thing. They want to make it this perfectly worded rule that, for some reason doesn't call out why they're doing the rule. Right? Like the whole deep striking Blood Angels captain stay 9 inches away from you on top of a building, but then doing a 1 inch charge roll because he ignores the fly keyword ignores vertical and horizontal. You literally could have, and then they fixed that, but then it broke a lot of other things for a little while, and they had to fix it again. Remember it?
Yep.
So when that happened, all they had to say was, literally, this can't do that. Because that's the only thing they saw that made them realize how busted it was. And that's really the only thing that's trying to deep strike in and charge you that way. You could just literally have said, models with jump packs or model with the fly keyword who deep strike in, blah. Mm-hmm. You could have just targeted the thing. So in this situation, the rule should have just been that Titanic models extend engagement range to 2 inches while models are in terrain feature. Honestly, could have just been whatever the bracket of terrain feature that they can't walk through, not just obscuring. Whatever that thing is, non-scalable or whatever. You say when interacting with that terrain feature, the Titanic model has a 2 inch engagement range. There it is. Just call it out.
How can you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Right? It's just say it. Because every time they don't say it and they do a big broad stroke, something silly happens. Not every time. That's a gross exaggeration. Sometimes.
Yeah. But still.
Sometimes. And so apparently that's an epidemic, right? And most ITC events and their TOs are saying, we don't use that rule. This new fucking beta rule, we're not using it. And then some of them just modify it. They say, hey, if you deep strike, you still have to roll fucking 9 to charge. Because remember, at the end of the day, what it means is a +1 to charge roll. So obviously, a lot of armies have a +1 to charge available and can deep strike and can just cut through your obscuring terrain. So You're not. It's a completely different fucking story when like, useful amounts of units are entering the board in a deep strike and only need to roll a 7 to make contact. That's different math. So a lot of TOs are saying no. When you do strike, period. That shit doesn't. There's like different levels of like how much of the rule they're using. But ask your TOs, go on your groups before you go to an event. As always, find out. And even if you don't find out until you're there, it really doesn't matter that much. Just know the rules before you start, because it's defendable. It's not like it's the end of the world. It's just you don't want to be caught up in something, with no knowledge, because knowledge is power in this game. Currently, it's possible for somebody to zone you out because of this engagement range, to charge you and then leave the combat because of this engagement range, or to deep strike in with like 6 and 7 discharges. So these are things that are possible. Knowledge is power. Find out before you get into the game.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat says, Ken, have you consider offering your service? Dog, every year, every month, Mr. McReynolds, I say it to GW all the time. I do this shit for free. 100%. Send me shit. I will look at them. I'll try to be as objective as possible.
They
don't care.
I don't think you're the right fit for GW.
Nah. I have also said, and unfortunately, this has been pointed out to me by industry professionals and other careers who have, wanted that too. But they say, Kenny, why don't they just hire you? But then they're like, oh yeah, last week in the podcast, you literally told GW to suck your dick. I was like, yeah, I did.
There's that.
So there might be a problem here. Look, I love GW, love the games, love the models, love it all. Love the rules, but you gotta people are gonna tell you, hey, you fucked this up. Just fix it. It's words on a page, man. That's the part of this that pisses me off. They wrote the rule. The whole community broke the rule by the end of that fucking lunch hour. You need to call your rules guy and be like, okay, this is what the community says is wrong with the rule. He needs to look at it and he needs to be like, yep, we need to fix that. And then you just put out a new words on a page after lunch.
Yeah, I think I think in a lot of cases you just need to take ownership. I mean, that's what it's about in 2022 is taking ownership for anything. Like, and I think that's one of just the fundamental problems with society is not taking ownership and not fixing things to be correct when they are. Like even, GW themselves with their articles, always goes back and rewrites things, folks online, just anybody in general, brands, whatever. Just take ownership, say you're sorry, fix it. Like it's fine. But when you don't do that stuff, it snowballs and it gets worse.
It makes it seem as if you really don't care about our enjoyment level in the hobby, or at least the gaming part of the hobby. Now that's a assumption. I'm making an assumption. I don't believe that to be the case. I'm certain that if I took a moment to see it from their perspective, that probably a lot of moving parts just to get the first words on the page out there. And now it's like a disaster that they would have to put it, that they'd have to fix it. And so they just already have a scheduled date for that and they just can't, like, I get that. I would just, so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You don't have to play the rule. Most TOs don't, but for some reason, the big event that happened last weekend, they did. And I got a shitstorm of DMs about it, which ultimately probably had no impact on the winners or losers and stuff like that of the big stage.
Yeah, probably not.
But if I'm getting like 15 DMs about it from people, that's 15 people who didn't have a good time. Yeah,
that's 15 people not coming back on top of like the shitty experience for the refunds and all the other stuff that's happening there. It's something that's 100% preventable. And as an event, you're just going to start hemorrhaging attendees because every attendee knows, you have a bad customer experience, you're going to tell 10 to 13 other people, right? And then
if you have a bad experience, it's like it's your job to convince people not to go to that thing. not to do the thing, not to buy
Exactly.
it. It's like your job for a couple of weeks to convince people to not do it. Like, that's what I saw from those DMs. I was like, well, that's unfortunate. These people have a bad time because GW made a mistake with the way they wrote that rule, and it's going to be a while before they rate it back. And because the event organizers want to play it purist or whatever the relationship is to the manufacturer, is didn't want to modify the obviously terrible rule.
With a little luck, maybe they'll fix it in the next balanced data slate, which looks like it's due this month at some point if they keep following the same pattern. So,
but now we have something to talk about based on my clickbait title tonight, which was like, what, you won't believe this? What happened? You won't believe what happened.
Well played.
Not clickbait. First off, we have War Games Live, Joe, saving Pod 2, which we talked about a second ago. So that you might not know that or even believe it. That not all heroes wear capes. Some heroes tour the country in a converted RV with their dogs, man. Covered events and raising money for people.
Former chemists traveling in there.
Yep.
I'm just saying it's an interesting coincidence. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
We're going to have to send them some kind of like Heisenberg reference.
I just want to talk to
the Heisenberg Award of Excellence.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I like it. Well, I think we did it. A little abbreviated show. Wyatt's returning videotapes. Actually, he's in the hospital, like we talked about at the beginning. Blockbuster finally caught up with him about all those videotapes, so hopefully he'll be back next week with us. Kenny, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah. You want to head on over to Rob to take us out of here.
Nice. I thought you were going to do it. I was like, oh shit, does he know it? Did we talk about the annual Patreon thing at the beginning? Yeah, we did. Yeah. We talked about them both. Anyways, so that's it for this one, y'all. Thanks for watching, hopefully listening here in the AMs. So make sure you head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and now free merch with an annual sub over on Patreon. Become a veteran of the Long War today.